Well, hello there, Minecrafters. Thanks for coming by. We're continuing on with our Diversity Developers commentary into another episode where we are furiously going through the puzzle branch, and we're actually at the final puzzle for this episode. Last time we talked about the riddle section, and a lot of interesting feedback on that one. But again, spoilers. Tell you this every time. Don't watch this video if you haven't played the puzzle branch. I really don't want to spoil it for you. I want you to have fun and try to solve the puzzles on your own. But if you have been enjoying the series so far, thanks for watching. Let's go back in and we're going to finish it up into the final puzzle, my pride and joy. And this is probably one of the coolest things I've ever built. Now here we have the last section here. This is the riddle branch, and we talked about this little thing. And yeah, you know, riddles. I like riddles, and they're going to be in the puzzle branch because I needed another idea. And of course, I'll just what's the word? I'll just repeat what I said last time, that this is based off of Thalazar's map, Who Am I? It's sort of a nod to him, good friend of mine. And over here we had access denied, but if you finished the last riddle, then the door would open. And you'd head over to the final puzzle here. The SIider puzzle. This here I'm extremely proud of, that I got this thing to work. This actually, I said this in my beta my video to my beta testers, that if I cannot get this one working, I was going to take it out of the map, because I was so concerned that when I was building it was so glitchy and buggy and it wouldn't work. I'll show you later in the build, but I am very happy that it works because I really wanted this puzzle as the final puzzle in the branch. And it's the classic SIider, you know, like the I remember playing them at McDonald's. You had to make the little guy appear there. And it's interesting what I've seen on YouTube videos of what people think they're supposed to do with this. Well, I want to show you a few To me, it's... I don't... Yeah, it's pretty crazy build here. We'll go over that in a bit. And yeah, this is my testing area here where I first tested that. But let me show you a few things. Maybe you can tell me I need to make it more obvious. Here's room 1. 9x9 wool. Okay. Here is the end of room 2. We have another 9. Did I say 9x9? 3x3 puzzle there. And over here, we have it on the floor again. Like, I kind of figured you guys would have... I mean, I remember seeing a Let's Play where they said, somebody take a picture of that on your phone? Yeah, I got it. To me, it's obvious that you have to make that pattern. I don't know. I don't know. You have to make it line up. Now, actually, if you notice here, we've got black wool there. That's sort of to signify, yeah, we do have that. And the rest is actually black stained clay. Maybe I should have made a different background to sort of hint that a bit more. But it does take a while to solve this, just because you have to move one block individually. But I did go back to room 1 if you want to give up on the puzzle. But I was so happy about this thing. Like, I'm very proud of it. And I'm going to leave a link in the description of a YouTube video of some, as far as I know, I think it was the first one that was made, a 3x3 SIider Minecraft puzzle. And I kind of got the idea that you could build it in Minecraft from that video, but that was not available. I couldn't even get a hold of the guy. The download was broken. I couldn't do that. And then I was talking to Jesper. I gotta say it right, Jesper. My friend Jesper. I said, I want to do the SIider puzzle. He said, yeah, a friend of mine who did the map 2-for-1 built it. So I downloaded that map, which is just the SIider puzzle in a map, and it actually was broken. So I ended up having to build this thing from scratch. Anyway, I'm going to show you the back there, how it works, how the whole system responds, because it's pretty awesome. It's a little complicated, but hopefully you can follow along. Okay, I'm on top of the puzzle room here. Now, I should have said, first off, these stained clay blocks, all they are is the direction. I put them up here of how the pistons are going to push. So if you wanted the blocks to move that way, you'd hit the orange one. And if you wanted the blocks to move up, you'd hit the purple one because the pistons would push it. And if you wanted the blocks to move down into the space, you'd hit the yellow one. And also, if you wanted the top piston to pull it back, you'd hit the yellow one. Because it's a one pulse tick, and that piston can either leave it or pull it back. And that did take a little bit of time for people to understand that. But that's exactly how that puzzle works. Now, like I said, it's complicated. It's awesome, though. I am so proud of this thing. The biggest problem I had was these two here. They work a little differently than the rest of them, but let me just try to break it down for you. This is going to be a little tricky to explain. But you remember back in the second puzzle, I talked about how you can make a button with a redstone, like a block in the middle of the floor like this. Press a button, and the wire can go through, because it is a little difficult to make. When you're not putting a button against a wall, it's sometimes tricky to make a redstone go down unless you place a piston and push down a redstone block. Well, this is basically works the same as that. It comes off of here with a bit of a delay just because we need to pull the power from the block and into these torches, which go down and simply just move down the space here, I guess. And then we have that. I talked about this this little contraption here. I'm not even sure what the name is. Is it a one pulse tick thing? I don't know. But when you press the button here, let me just spawn a button and press it. We do a few things here. And the whole reason we do that is timing, because we can't have the puzzle to break. So what it does is sends a little pulse into here, and it actually goes through the block, and the repeater pulls it off with another bit of a delay, and it does two things. It depowers the torch, which powers this torch, which actually pushes all of these pistons down to glass, so that when you press another button, you cannot call for another signal, because this whole puzzle here, the SIider puzzle, is very important that we don't put too much signal up, because there are, I think, eight copies that have to work identically to each other. So it pushes the piston down with the glass. So I'll show you here. Pushes it down. It's a sticky piston, and it's just like that because it can push it down, and we don't have a connection. And like I said, this comes across, makes the connection to the torch, which pushes up there, but also comes back and hits this reset that's timed. So it's made the selection. The players made the selection. I'm going to go down like that, and then they can't press any other buttons until you hear the music notes, because this reset is coming across here. It's all these delays here. I've timed this as best I can. Comes down and hits the music notes, and I wanted to make sort of a tune that was sort of like a question-y tune, if that makes sense. Something that didn't sound like you achieved something, but it definitely sounds like you did something. I didn't want to make I don't know. Well, we don't need to talk about music. Whatever. And then it pushes the block back up into place so that you're ready to make another selection. So that is, it's a little, it's hopefully that makes sense. But on the other hand here, when it comes out of here, now it can actually fire these signals here, and I've colored them, kind of for my own benefit, but my original design just had iron, but I kind of did that so that it would make sense when you looked at it. And now it's oh boy, it's going to get complicated. So first I should say that each one of these has to have obsidian or some block that cannot be moved by a piston, but also can take a redstone dust signal that's lit. So that's so that if you push, like if this bottom piston pushes up and you don't have a hole, if you didn't have a piece of obsidian or something there, it would just push the whole piston out of the way. So that's why each one of these has obsidian surrounding them. Now with this whole puzzle, I would definitely recommend just kind of, it's going to be hard to explain, but maybe if you just download the map and take a look at it closely if you want to use this in a map or something, and hopefully it'll make sense if you can break down the redstone. But you can see here the orange here, it controls the what does it control? It controls the right side. So well, the right side when you're looking over here, left side from the back. It goes up to here into this repeater, which powers that block, which also powers this block, and it's very, very difficult to get the wiring not to interfere with the other pistons or whatever. So we've got this wire that goes and actually powers this block, which moves the top piston into place, and then this wire here, or this dust, gets lit and it powers both this block here and this piston, so that both these pistons will move ahead. So every time you hit one of the colors, all three pistons on whatever side you hit it is moving. And because we have the obsidian, the only thing that's going to happen is it's only going to move into the place that's open, because you can't move those blocks anymore. You can't move those blocks. If you hit orange, it can only move into the open space. So you see there. Now, one thing I should show you. Well, we talked about it earlier, but let me just quickly build it here. Is let's see here. Let's put a pressure plate. Let's put redstone. Let's put repeater, and we will make this quick little. I talked about this last time. The contraption. Somebody tell me what this is called, because I don't know. I don't know what it's called. I'm gonna put a button here, and I'm gonna put a I'll put a piston there. And if I put a block, any type of block on there, basically, if I hit it, because it's such a quick pulse, it pushes it into place. That's how this works. Pushes it into place, and then you can also pull it down. So tell me what that is. I don't know. But they're all linked up that way. So the important thing about this puzzle here, this redstone contraption, is you can't have the wires mix. So I have to put things like on this yellow one here. It comes up same as the other ones. From this selection here, comes down, does the whole reset thing, back up here through the repeater there, and they're all spaced out so they're as best evenly timed as I can. It goes up here, comes up here, splits off into the rest of these copies here, but going to the front one, goes up here, and because we have to power, you can see we have to power these pistons to all move up properly, we have to line up the repeaters, because if you were to do it with dust, they're not going to actually go into the block, they're just going to power this block, and then they won't be able to actually give power to these blocks, which will pull it out of here. So I hope that makes sense to you. But anyway, it's doing that really quick pulse, pulling it out, and then it's pushing these pistons to go down. Same with the bottom one. The bottom one was a bit tighter to get in there, but it's still the same. It comes up here and into these repeaters, because we have to fire them into that block, which quickly pushes up that piston and then pulls it out at the same time. It gives that quick little pulse into those three pistons there. And then the green one is identical to the orange one on the other side. So Yeah, hopefully that makes sense to you. That's the front one. Now, the way that we get the right answer is that we have to actually copy this continually through here so that every time we move one block, it gets moved as well as these ones. So this yellow one here, well, actually, let's go over here. And what we're going to do is this open area is on the right middle. So you can see it's on the right middle. And I'm not going to be able to show you too quickly, but let's push it over. Let's push it over with green. And you'll see every single one of them gets, well, that one's covered up. You can see we've got the open space on the left side. We've got the open space on the left side, and so on. And so each one of these has to copy that identically. Now, these last two were very difficult, but what happens is when you send a pulse, any of the pulses through here, all of them go down and make these. Here's more of these little contraptions here that I use all the time. These little quick pulses on each one of them. They get them on each copy. They get it to pulse out like that. But these repeaters here are lined up so that we can continue the signal all the way down, and you can see the signals end up lining up on each one, and they come across, and then they go through. If all of them are lined up, so that blue has to be basically at the end of that piston. I'm going to skip these back two for now because they're a little more difficult. But the rest of them, they just have to line up where the repeaters are. And if one is not, like if we've got glass so it can't make a connection, but it counts as a block. So if the signal's coming across and hits the glass, we're not going to be able to pull it out to the next one to continue on. But if it lines up, like if the white block was right here, or if any block was right here, it could make that signal. But if we didn't have the next one in the right place, if we have a blank space or if we have glass, it won't work. So basically this whole signal comes through once you press any button, because they're all tied together at the end. The whole signal comes through, and if it can make the end here, then the signal comes down, moves this piston. This is a regular piston, I think. Yeah, redstone block, and activates this and opens the door. And that is how you win, because you have to have every single wool lined up in the proper place, which is, to me, obvious where it has to be. But anyway, you have to have it the same layout of the previous ones. Now, hopefully it's not too complicated, but I do recommend just kind of going over this in creative and seeing if it kind of makes sense to you. The last two here were very difficult because of the way that pistons react. The way that pistons react with a repeater on the top. Because the thing is, I can't fire these pistons unless they're being fired by the purple here. And if you notice over here on the other ones, the way that we make that signal is a repeater going through, in this case a green wool, or we'll just put iron there for now. You can see, and it doesn't really interfere with any of the pistons here, so the signal can go through. But the last two here, because they're on the bottom, and we also have the black one, but it doesn't matter about the black one because it's the only one left. And if everything is in place, then black has to be in its right place, but which is the open spot, actually. What I was saying was, if I was to make the repeater, like if I was to put the repeater here, it's going to activate that piston. And what's going to happen is if there's an open spot, it's actually going to push up and basically screw up the puzzle. That was a huge problem in my original design. I could not get it to work properly. So what I came up with was sort of an interesting way. Is when this is basically the end signal here comes through. It's going to send a signal to this sticky piston. Whatever block is in front, it's going to push through into this open area. And if you remember, we talked about in one of the other episodes where we can push a block into place and then have a signal hit it. So so that if you have like a, if we have a redstone dust here, well, let's do this. If you have a redstone dust here and you have one like this, it's not going to make a signal, but if you were to push a block in place and you had like a repeater on the other side, I guess, have to be a repeater, you can get a signal. But if you push it out of the way, you can still have a signal come up, but it won't continue on. So that is how these back two work. So if it's glass, the signal is going to come across here. It's going to push that piston forward, and the timing is very important. That piston's still extended while this signal comes across here. And if I can get through here. And what it does is it hits these repeaters. Now these repeaters have to be here because if it's dust, it's actually going to activate those pistons. So the repeater goes kind of above it, and it will activate whatever block is being pushed out. If it's something, a solid block, then we can make a connection. And then I had to do the same thing over here. You can see goes over like this. And if the piston, if the green wool, like if this one is in this spot, then it'll push out to here, and then you can make that connection. And then we have the normal way here. So yeah, it was very, very tricky to figure out how to get that because the bottom pistons kept reacting improperly. I don't know why. Well, I guess that's kind of the way that bud switches work, but it shouldn't really, like, when I think about the way a piston works, it really shouldn't work that way because the repeater is actually technically on the block above, so it should not be powering that piston, but that is the way that Minecraft works. The last thing I had problems with is, I have no idea why I had problems with it. It was very bizarre. Is this green one here? I used to have the dust on top here, and I have no idea why, but the green one would not respond properly to the copied pattern if I had the dust powering the pistons up here. It makes no sense to me because the blue one is identical and it would react properly. It would be fine. But the green one would not. So I ended up having to power blocks beside the piston instead of on top of the pistons. I still don't understand why it doesn't work. But that's basically how it works. I'll put the link in the description to that video. That it's really cool what he shows there. But obviously I couldn't copy it because I couldn't get the map download. I tried emailing him too and saying, "Hey, can I use this in my map? Like, do you have the download link? I really want to use it," but no response. So I ended up having to build it from scratch. I'm very, very, very proud of it. I really love this thing. It's probably I don't know if most complicated, but it's definitely the coolest thing I think I've built in Minecraft as far as redstone goes. But when you got the right answer, it would open up this, and I actually saw people break it to win, even though you have the bonus wool. I don't know why people cheat to win. But hopefully you enjoyed our look at the SIider puzzle. I'm much better at building than explaining. I'll put it that way. But, you know, thanks for watching, guys. Let me face you. Thanks for watching. Next time, I'm not entirely sure where we're going to go. I might go to trivia, just because I've gotten some not nice comments about the answers, thinking they're wrong. So I definitely want to explain and prove to you they're all correct answers. Here's how it works. I definitely want to go into the escape branch and the adventure branch. But maybe leave in the comments where you think we should go next. Hope you enjoyed look at the SIider puzzle. It is my pride and joy. But I will see you next time on the developer's commentary for diversity. Enjoy your Minecrafting and have a great day, guys.